So it's the election day, and there are a lot of things at play over here, a lot of factors, important issues, agenda. But what really matters for the Indian and to the Indian community and the diaspora is something we will be discussing today. We have students, we have business people, and we have those who have represented the Indian community in the United States of America for very many years. Let's just begin by introducing the students over here. Maharishi Gardaria, he's a student over here. Samyukta Singh. Then we have Ravi Karkara, who is the co-founder of India 2047 Investor Forum, does a lot of work when it comes to investors, business and business interests between India and the United States of America. And then we have good old Jagdish Sehbani Saab, who's always joined us every time we've done shows or have come reporting here in the United States of America. He is president of the American India Public Affairs Committee. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us here on the network. Let's just begin with the students, because that really matters. It's important. We have two polarizing figures this time around. One who speaks about immigration in very different light, and the other who might have a more humanitarian angle to how they're going to approach immigration or visas. What, according to you, if I could ask both of you, and you can take the question one after the other, will make a difference to the students living here, Indian students traveling to the United States of America to study, in terms of policy changes and policies? Should Kamala win or should Trump win?
I think policies should be changed if Republicans changes policies like health, mental health improvements, like for students, financial aids, and policies like careers opportunities after the graduations, how we get the jobs, and that's the main thing. After,
Do you think Republicans will do that in Maharashtra?
probably yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
Samyukta, what about you?
So one thing that I need to explain is that the Republican platform is very focused on illegal immigration, making sure that that stops, because about 10 million people got through the borders in the last 3.5 years. And as someone who's come from a family that has immigrated to this country legally, it's important for us to follow the rule of the law and to encourage that. And the Republican platform, like Vivek Ramaswamy, so many of the individuals who represent that platform have talked about making, not glorifying lying and cheating and coming through the borders. So it's actually going to be empowering for people like me who have come to this country, or my parents who have come to this country, in the legal way, and having that empowered.
That's a very important point. This election, everybody's talked about, and no, keep the mic down. This election, everybody's talked about how it is important. Immigration is a very important issue, but the distinction. And earlier you saw Trump really talking about immigrants, outsiders, aliens.
Yeah.
But he's made that shift. He now very specifically focuses on illegal immigration.
Yeah.
His party is focusing on illegal immigration. And to be fair, for all those who are sitting here, they've worked very hard to come and to reach the United States of America legally. So it is a battle for the Indian community over here also to ensure that there is no illegal route. That if the Republicans are fighting against illegal immigration, it's a good thing. Right, Ravi?
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is really a crucial question, right? Because for ensuring that when you're looking at the rule of law, right, of the land is critical. And I think if you look at the Indian diaspora, which is always, I think we're known for over-following rules, which is great. And I think we've seen from the students' perspective, from a professional perspective, from business perspective, now from a media perspective, it's been a big learning, having spent about 20 years here. You see very clearly that the awareness with this young generation who are contributing every day, many of us, and then Jagdishji, who's been here, one of our leaders and mentors, we see that there's a very clear shift. I think where the Republicans has been very, very clear, they want to see America do better, progress, and they want to look at, if you're coming as a legal immigrant, they want to bring a particular skill set, a business interest, which is critical for the economy, because we are changing as the world is moving forward. And I think India really comes in a very crucial point because India has a very clear march towards 2047, which is looking at a 55 trillion economy. And if you're looking at India and America business interests, it is very much complementary, and it's a very clear synergistic, I would say, time for us to really see that happen. So immigration matters. The way we are working through it, we want to see many of our young generation leaders come into the place and be integrated into society through a legal process. So somewhere there is a very strong, I would say, sense of unfairness, especially with the Indian diaspora, the green card wait, the issue of, our young folks not coming in, whereas illegal immigrants get these opportunities that legal young professionals are not getting it.
Okay, then Jagdish, how is it different? How is the Democratic policy different from the Republican policy? What do the Democrats really have to offer then? Because I suppose on the immigration front, somewhere down the line, I think Trump camp has explained itself quite well on making the distinction between illegal and legal immigration.
I'll tell you, this election is all about AIE. A is abortion, I is immigration, and E is economy. And Indian diaspora, which is almost 4.5 million strong, they are going to play a very crucial role in this election. I would go even one step further. They are going to play a decisive role in this election because those 7 battleground states, Indian American community is very strong. If you see Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and nowadays Indian American, they are voting with their conscience. Previously they used to vote only for they were pro-democrat, but I have seen a substantial change. Now they are seeing who candidate is right for us. When I speak to Indian women, they say that abortion is very, very important. Pro-choice lady, they will vote. They are going to vote for Democrats. When it comes to economy, they are going to vote for Trump. But when it comes to immigration, I think Indian American, it is divided, but more pro towards Democrats. I see.
Really?
Because they see that,
You think there is a fear?
Of course.
A fear that if Republicans come, immigration will become a problem for Indians?
It is new India today under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. Whether it is Trump or Kamala, I think they need India.
Absolutely.
Besides immigration, they need India. Like Raviji said, we are going to be 40 plus trillion economy in next 20 years. Today we have 5 trillion economy. So America needs India. The whole world is today looking at India for the leadership, and it's very important for both of them to be India on their sides. The largest democracy and the oldest democracy.
Okay, so what were the three
AIE. Abortion. A is abortion. I is
immigration, economy. Let's start one by one. Ravi, before I go to abortion, he made a very significant and important point on immigration being divided, yet more voters towards the Democrats. Do you agree with that? And I'm asking you not from the perspective of Indians trying to come to the United States of America, more to do with the fact that investors who are looking at setting up businesses here, for them who are trying to get their people to come and work over here. I mean, we've had the IT sector that had a huge problem getting their people to come and work in the United States of America. And that was during Trump's regime. So do you think those are the fears?
I mean, we are sitting here in Times Square with the Sanctuary City, and we have faced the brunt of illegal immigrants. There are hotels here, old hotels that, as we speak right now, are full of illegal immigrants. So yes, you have a humanitarian perspective to it. We fully understand. But completely from a business and ethics perspective, I think it really depends who you're asking, the age group. I think if you look at the young professionals in the Bay Area, look at young professionals in Chicago and others, they're very clear that, we have spent a tuition fee, we invested our time, we've done experience, developed and honed our skills in the area, whether it be medicine, law, finance, industry, or IT. So when they look at an OPT situation, they're looking, why is it difficult for me to translate my OPT as part of a green card? And while all this is happening, and you look at this great Sanctuary City here, and I know many cases, including some Indians who managed to come here for illegal means, And when I hear them say, oh, I'm getting my permanent, not citizenship, but I'm getting my residency, similar to not Canada, but I'm getting mainstreamed into it. I'm like, you came here 3 years ago. I know people who are on wait list 10 years for a green card, paid taxes, contributed to the local economy, to the national economy, and highly patriotic towards the land, which is US, but also have their very strong roots in India. So really from a business perspective, I think it's very important that where we stand in US economy, we need skilled professionals who can really boost. When you're looking at decoupling from China, you want to look at manufacturing, and manufacturing will not overnight bring in people. You need to bring skilled workforce that are part of India or wherever. You see that all the time. Indians are going to Germany, Indians going to Japan, etc., because they're known for their skill pool. And I think this will really elevate and go to the next level in the next 10 years. So really on a business perspective, I think definitely Republicans have made a stronger case. And I would say Democrats from a humanitarian perspective have bring in the illegal immigrants, but Democrats have also tried to introduce bills to curb that, but that's never been successful because, again, of politics, we know what's happening.
The politics of it.
Absolutely.
You see, Republicans blocked the bill, and now they're saying that Democrats have not done enough. But that's politics. That happens everywhere. The Democrats will you have to get your numbers in place. Every party has to get its numbers in place to show not just political will, but to show action. Having said that, let's go to the first of the letters that Jagdish just spelled out for us, abortion, Samyukta. Divisive topic when it comes to a certain state.
Absolutely.
And Trump, from saying absolutely no to abortion to saying that states should decide.
Yeah.
But should that be policy at all? Because I think on this count, the Indian community thinks very differently. India has been a very progressive country, has allowed the right to choice to women many years before America even thought or debated it. And so for the Indian community, this is quite an important topic.
Absolutely. It's a very important topic for all women living here. But I think one thing to realize is that in Trump's first term, he ran with Mike Pence, who was an abortion hardliner, where he was completely pro-life, and that's what Trump used in order to win, because he wanted to win that faction. But with this Trump 2.0 term, we're seeing that he has changed his stance on abortion a lot, in that he actually just wants to end the cultural war around abortions. We shouldn't even be talking about abortions, is his stance on the issue. The fact that in 2022 Roe v. Wade, which is a legal precedent that codified abortion across the country, that got revoked, that got outlawed or removed, and so what he wants to do is basically return this issue to the states. So if you're living in Texas, you probably won't be able to get an abortion, but then you live in New York, you will, because it's just going to be localized now to the populations that live there. And so he just doesn't want it to be determined at a federal level, which I think is the best, way to deal with the situation, since it's such a polarizing issue. I think so.
What about you, Margie? I'm asking you this because you have friends in your school or university. What's the conversation on Trump versus Kamala Harris when it comes to abortion?
Sorry.
You don't have an opinion on that? Okay, that's all right. Yeah. Ravi?
Actually, I do have a very strong opinion, because you need to understand the root of abortion, which is women's fundamental human rights. And America, which played a very critical role in creation of the UN Declaration of Ending Discrimination Against Women, UNCEDAW, in 1979, has never signed and ratified. So the root is just not abortion. The root is this country does not recognize, be it Republicans or Democrats, recognize the human rights of women. So for me, that it's versus Democrats and Republicans. When it comes to women's rights, both have failed the girls and the women. But when it comes to abortion, I very clearly say that, on abortion, she decides. It's her right or choice. So I think you see that turnaround in Trump's narrative. But I think Kamala Harris is a stronger candidate, who's also coming from a very clear legal perspective, and somebody who's been campaigning on daughters' issues for a long time. I feel that the country needs to revisit its commitment and constitutionally go back and revisit the Constitution, which even today as we speak right now, the country has not ratified the Convention on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. The country has not ratified and signed the UN Convention on Rights of the Child, which gives clear recognition to the rights of the girl child. So it's much deeper than just understanding abortion. But for me, the answer is clear. It's women decide.
But you're saying that women voters are going to vote more for the Democrats because
Absolutely, because they feel it is their right, and women they are smart. It is their body.
Has become a face when it comes to
Absolutely,
pro-choice.
they totally, and I totally agree with them. Women, we are talking. It's unfortunate that in 2024 in America we are talking about this. Women have their own right. It is their body. They are smart enough to take decision what they want to do with the child, whatever. So they should be given that liberty to decide about it. So women in large numbers on this issue, they are going to go for Democrats.
Right. Maharshi, if I could come back to you, maybe not on abortion, but on other issues when it comes to students who are studying here, how do you see the United States of America as a country of the free, as they say, as a democratic structure? You come from India.
Yeah.
In comparison, do you see a difference in things and how things run in the US as opposed to in India?
Yeah, as a student, I can clarify that we have
Put the mic up a little.
we have a lot of opportunities here. Like we can grow our careers in various parts. Like we have various specializations in our subjects. So according to it, we can learn more things here. Expect to India, and even if the more accessible everything's like we can do internships in the many projects.
But do you see a future here for yourself? If Trump comes, do you see a future for?
If Trump comes, I can absolutely see my future here as
he is an absolute Republican.
Yeah.
I can see that.
because it helps in many opportunities we can get it from the, and it's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. But Samyukta,
Yes.
we say land of the free, we talk about democracy, but if you look very closely, when it comes to discrimination, when it comes to, bigotry, US is not untouched. I mean, we have leaders who come and criticize India, criticize Indian leadership, but if you see, they do not really introspect as to what is happening back home.
Absolutely.
Is there an introspection there? Because I have seen, and kudos to the students, I have seen them protest against the administration when it comes to the policies, especially with the Israel-Gaza war.
Yeah.
I've seen them go out and protest.
Yeah.
I've seen them question the Russia-Ukraine war as well. I've seen them question government's policies on going to war itself.
Yeah.
All that has happened here.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the administration actually is quite blinded with what they really want to do in terms of policies.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of interest groups and lobbies, especially a lot of the students in college campuses are protesting against the fact that, why are we sending so much money into all these wars? There are these endless wars outside. And so among the two candidates, it does look like Trump is the better candidate in terms of ending those wars outside the country. We know with Ukraine and Russia.
Ending the wars for the U.S.
Ending the wars for the U.S. to make sure that's a good point. The fact that we don't want our taxpayer money to be used for that purpose. So that's definitely the case. I will say when it comes to democracy and things like that, we've seen that the Democratic Party, they have taken more of that opinion of human rights issues. They've criticized India for things like human rights issues in Kashmir, which is something that we haven't seen with the Republican Party. In fact, just a few weeks ago, or maybe a few days ago, Trump released a statement saying, criticizing Bangladesh for the persecution of Hindus. And whether or not he means it, the fact that he was able to release that statement is such a big thing and is such a big support for the Indian American, Hindu American community, especially for people like me. And I know the Democratic Party has too many conflicts of interest, so they probably would never release a statement like that. But again, I mean, it's a hard question because there's also a lot of Christian fundamentalists on the Republican side. And again, a few weeks ago, a Christian like a student hardliner, I guess, they questioned Vivek Ramaswamy on his faith, questioning him on whether he can lead the country if he worships someone other than Jesus. So there's a lot going on both sides. It's really hard to say which one's better for Hindus and Indians. But yeah, that's for us to say, I guess.
Okay, we are in New York City, so we'll have to end the conversation with economy. And the two people over here who are going to tell us exactly what it means to have a Trump administration versus a Kamala administration, Harris administration, and how will that really impact economy and India-US business ties?
I think great question. I think for us to really put the context as where the world economy is, and I think both India and US play a very critical role. And we've seen very clearly post-COVID the very clear need to move away from manufacturing in China, and there's a very clear bent, and that's very much Democrat, towards India. That's Republicans have always been saying a very clear bent towards India. So I was in fact speaking to Jagdish ji, and I said, honestly, where India stands today, and we've seen it, he's been here for 30 years, I've been here 20 years, that, no matter who comes in, Bharat will be in the center. And the reason I say that is not only because it's going to be the manufacturing base, but it's going to be one of the biggest markets the world has seen. It'll be one of the biggest professional young skill center. And really, like you've seen from Satya Nadella to many other leaders talking about the AI revolution and AI-powered unicorns that we know will come from India, and they will come from tier 2 cities. And the innovation, just to give you an example, right? If you look at the unicorns that were and their ethnic background, 40% of 2023 unicorns that came into this country were from the Indian origin. And that's something which you've seen for somebody who was beaten up after 9/11, mistakenly outside Grand Central, thinking that I'm from a certain adjoining country, to a situation you see now Indians being part of. I think Jagdish ji probably have seen it much more than I have. And you see from a finance perspective, economics perspective, academic perspective, health and medicine perspective, from women leaders in science perspective, you've seen the way it's changed. And really from a business perspective, you see very clear, and I've seen to the India 2047 Investors Forum, we've seen a time when nobody really said, investments in India, and they're like, tell me what to do. Where are the investments going? And I would really like to give credit to the Consul General here, Binay ji, and before that Jaiswal ji, who was here now, the MEA spokesperson, who really said, New York is the center of Wall Street. What are we doing for the investments? And I think we see not just investments that are going to technology. You're looking AI. You're looking at, I work also on sustainability. So looking at investments in solar energy. You're looking at green hydrogen. You're looking at innovation and artificial intelligence, agri-tech, food tech, water tech. And this is a new kind of a wave that is stemming from at a state level, whether you're Republican or Democrat. And you see that it's also coming through the Democrats and clearly from the Republicans. So really, that's my perspective.
Yes, I will just add one more thing to this, that, in 2020s, first of all, we are in Times Square. I was just thinking, your name is Geeta Mohan. Geeta of Geeta, and Mohan means Krishna.
Yeah.
So what a beautiful name you have. I was just thinking about it just now. Saying that, now, if you go to any venture capitalist, if they see the promoter is Bharatiya Indian, it's very easy to get financing. See where we have come from now. I mean, it is very important. Today, if you see a top 10 companies in America, the CEOs are Indians. Yes, saying that when Trump comes, he's talking about tariffs on China. So that will be very good for Indians, because India is a logical second choice, alternative to come and invest in India. And now, with current leadership in India of Narendra Modi, the red carpet is there for people who come and invest in India. And I personally feel in next 10 years, India, that is Bharat, is going to be a manufacturing hub for global, not only America, but 100%. Everybody in the world.
Okay, fun question. Do you think Trump will concede?
Well, it's $1 million question.
Should the results be against him?
I think we are an oldest democratic country. I personally feel that whoever wins or loses, whoever loses should concede in a democratic way. Yes, and he should respect the humbly respect the view of the
He's being
voters.
very wise. Ravi, will he concede?
Well, we all know the answer. I think there's no beating around the bush, and I'm not so diplomatic. I think we know from the track record it's not happening, but I think the danger of that signal, which will impact the overall construction of democracy and the fundamental political system that I've always argued needs to be rehauled anyways. And I think if that happens, which he's going to look at not conceding, I think US needs to go back and sit back and look at its democratic model of just two countries and not having a multi-party system. I think there's a lot of unlearning and re-engineering of the political system and the electoral system here, which I think is going to be definitely, and I think that is the root. Sorry, I always get into the root of what's happening.
Neetaji, can I just add one thing? I just wanted to add one thing. They should learn perhaps from India. We had election in June. Just imagine 1 billion people voted and it went off peacefully. You know, whoever won or lost, they accepted graciously. So
Yes.
they should learn this thing from India.
From India is what Jagdish
Yes.
is saying. What about you in terms of conversations among students,
Yeah.
amongst your friends? Are there going to be protests? What is it that you guys are talking about?
I don't know if there's going to be protests. I will say that he may not have conceded the last election, but he did vacate the White House, and we did see Biden in the last 4 years. But I think this takes away from the more important topic of like there needs to be some investigation on the electoral integrity of the process. There's a lot of censorship, misinformation on social media, and so I mean when we talk about conceding or not, it kind of takes away from the more important topic of that election integrity. So, but I think he'll concede.
What's the conversation when it comes to
I think this
elections,
time-
protests, civil unrest?
Yeah, so I think this time the Republican chances are there, for according to all the points I get.
So he thinks that Trump doesn't have to concede at all. So he is absolutely
All he has to do-
In a positive way this time.
Yeah.
All he has to do is vacate. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
it is.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, thank you so much, guys, for joining
so
us
much,
here
everybody, for
on the
having us.
network. It is a very strong messaging. There was also a conversation on various issues that impact Americans, not just Indian Americans, and how things will shape up not just for the American capital, but capitals across the world. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching India Today Global and the India Today